すみかさん。すみか、おの。
ああ、OK。俺の。test. Was it loud enough or a bit small? Okay, so I think already one, so let's get started. I think we're still waiting for some other attendees, but anyway, we're gonna start for the brief introduction first. And first of all, thanks for joining today's seminar. And my name is Haruki, by the way. I think I saw some of the familiar faces, but some of you don't know me. So today I'm going to present this presentation about your migration pathway in Australia in the hospitality industry, more specifically about chef, cook, pastry chef, maybe pastry chef as well. And this is one of the very popular occupation. And also, I reckon most of you guys who currently studying or already study or you're going to study and are working as a chef to get the PR in Australia. So today, in first half, I'm going to talk about, in general, information about the occupation as a chef, about the demand, and also what chef has to be or what chef do. Because sometimes we are confused about what you actually need to do as a chef. And also I'm going to talk about our salary, the chef salary, and also the market demand in Australia. And also course and school information. I think some of you haven't started the course yet, and maybe you're considering some school and course, so I also briefly talk about it. And in the second half, I'm gonna pass to our migration agent, Momo, and she's going to talk about more in detail about the visa, your future visa option, and also migration option in Australia. So we also have a Q&A session, but if you have any question during the presentation, you can feel free to stop and then just ask us a question. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to start from why we seek for the PR as a chef. I think most of you already know, or as you are here, and you already decide Australia, and also you already decide to be a chef, I don't need to explain all the detail. We already know the good salary, good payment, and high demand, and education quality in Australia is also good. But I would like to focus on these two sections, which is the reasonable tuition fee and then the migration PR opportunity. The first, the reasonable tuition fee, it is, yes, still. Comparing to some European country and the US, the tuition fee is still reasonable, affordable. But there's one very important thing for the next coming year, 2025. Because of the cap number, I don't know if you guys are already aware or not, but the Australian government gonna change the cap number for each school, which means each school has the number limit for the year in 2025. So if the number limit is already full during this year, let's say in July or August, the school can no longer accept a new student. That means they have very limited number. So because of that, the tuition fee is expected to be increased in 2025. In Australia, always the tuition fee is increasing, unfortunately. But in the next coming 2025 is a little bit different. We expect the increasing rate going to be quite higher than the normal. So if you're still considering about the course and then the school option in Australia in next year, we highly recommend to start in this 2024, or at least some school. Today we have a counseling section in the outside after you finish the seminar. You can talk to our counselor about the school option, because some school still providing a promotion. If you enroll, if you apply in 2024, you still can get the 2024 price in 2025. But most of the school, if you are enrolled in 2025, the fee gonna be 2025 fee. So it all depends. So you need to check in which school you can get 2024 price or not. And also some of the school providing a promotion and discount price, so you also can check with us. And second, the PR opportunity. We already know the chef gonna lead to the Australian migration pathway. And everyone say, hey, if you are looking for a PR in Australia, just go to chef. But why? We know high demand, but this is my personal opinion, but the PR option as a chef, I wouldn't say chef is easy to get the PR or visa in Australia, but I think the chef has more opportunity to getting into this industry, much more than the other industry. So for example, we have other occupation, let's say nurse, IT, accountant, engineering, teacher. All the occupation lead to the PR as well. But we need to think, when I do the counseling, I clearly mention to the student, you need to be realistic. You need to realistically think if you can get a job or not. If you cannot get a job, even though you have a qualification, even though you have English, but you cannot get a visa because you don't get a job. So it's not, some occupation, because of your skill or experience, it's not easy to get a job. But I'm not saying that the chef is easy to get a job, But I'm saying that maybe you can start from kitchen hand, cook, or waiter, waitress. You can get into this industry a little bit easier than the other industry or occupation. So that's why I still believe the chef or cook is still one of the best options to get the PR in Australia. But on top of that, we need to think about what chef actually do, or what cook actually do. Because we often get a student, hey, I'm already in Australia around 2-3 years, and I already work as a chef, and I already got the sponsor, so I want to apply for the visa. And when we check the detail, we actually see the person is only working as a kitchen hand, or even not the cook level, because they just only do some preparation, or just very, not in detail, but just the cooking procedure. But the chef always including on top of the cook preparation or any other food handling, but you need to have menu planning or the human management or hygiene monitoring or food and labor costs. So overall, in general, management tasks are going to be included as a chef. So you need to clearly understand what the chef is required. It cannot be just you're working in the kitchen. You need to work as a chef, but based on this job description. And right now, we have two options, actually including the pastries a bit more, but in general, cook and chef. And a cook and chef has a slightly different, not slightly, maybe difference. So the cook is more about the cooking. So your cook order, well, you do preparation, but under the supervision of the chef. But a chef, of course, they do the cooking, but they do more like management, planning, monitoring, all other stuff. So you need to know, you need to understand what the difference is. So after we understand why the chef is good for the PR and what the chef needs to be, and now we think about if the occupation has a demand or not, and also what the salary or in general information. So in the left-hand side, you can see some chart. This is actually the data from 2022, so it's not the latest update. I just checked, and the weekly pay is already increased to 1,300 in average. And also the future growth is still increasing. And 79.5% full-time is pretty much 80% is working as a full-time. And also, the working hour per week is 42.9 hours. But most of the case, I reckon the chef is working a little bit more than that. Sometimes they do work 50 hours, 60 hours. It depends on the workplace. And lastly, for the gender mix, this is also not the latest update. When I check, it's over 28%. So which means nearly 30%. So almost one out of three chef is female. And I personally got, since last year, I personally got more female students for taking a cookery. So I think the gender ratio is pretty much half-half, getting to be half-half. And there's one common question. So when I'm going to be a chef to get a PR in Australia, which state should I go? Some people say which state is easy to get a job, easy to get a visa. The first, it's very hard to say in which state is good, or the best for you, because it all depends on your background, your skill, your qualification, your, I don't know, if you have a job or not, if you have a connection or not. So we cannot say in which state is the best for you. But based on this data, this is pretty updated one in this year. Job growth rate in each state comparing to last year, New South Wales, Victoria, and Queensland has the higher number than the other state. We often heard that the regional area is the best option for you to study and also get a job, which is true. But it all case by case. Obviously, in the regional area has a less worker and more demand, but you need to clearly think if the area or region has enough job or not. Obviously, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, those three major cities has more restaurant, more cafe, more job. But that doesn't mean you can get a job more easily. It all depends on your skill, and obviously more competition. But based on the data of the growth rate, in these three states has higher number than the other state. So it can be one of the key factors that you can consider if you decide to study in this area or not, if you decide to get a job in this area or not. So just one of the factors you can consider. And on top of this information, I also got many questions. One of the common questions, some students say that I heard that the chef gonna be removed from the occupation list. I heard that the chef is no longer demanded. Is it true or not? And first of all, about the occupation list, we cannot say yes or no because we don't know. The occupation list is not released yet. Not the clear information is released yet. But this is also the latest update. I think the data is August 2024, so just 2 months ago. So it's pretty latest data. So this is the occupation shortage list, means how shortage in each state of the occupation. So for example, they categorize by 4 different things. No shortage, they have enough people. Metropolitan, specific region, regional, only regional. Shortage, in general, they don't have enough staff or enough person. And as you can see, as a chef, based on this data, every single state has a shortage as a chef. Means each state needs more chef. So not only this one, but in general, the chef is still shortage and we need a chef more and more. We often say many people working as a chef and many people working in a restaurant, so maybe no longer needed. But maybe yes, we have many people working in the hospitality industry as a cook or kitchen hand or waiter. But as a chef, still not enough people. We don't know in next year or 2 years later or even months later, but still based on this data, that each state has a shortage. So I highly believe the chef gonna be still high demanded in Australia, so which is the good option for the Australian PR. But another thing, back to this cook and chef category, we need to know what you need to have. Obviously, the experience and skills important, but if you apply for some certain visa, you need to have a qualification. So if you go through cook or chef, you need to have some specific qualification on top of what you're doing. So if you haven't got any qualification in your country and if you don't have much experience and no qualification in Australia, the first thing is you may need to study first to get the qualification. And this is some of the example of the course provider. Maybe some of you currently considering which school to go, which course to study. And today we have the online attendees from the outside of Australia. I think most of the online attendees are still considering which school and which course to take a course. So this is just an example, but each school has different course. Sometimes they do provide patisserie, sometimes they do provide kitchen management, commercial cookery, and then the hospitality management can be the diploma or up to advanced diploma. So all based on what you want to get and also how you want to make the study plan, the school option may be different. So this is just an example. So if you're still considering the school and the course, and if you haven't decided, you can talk to a counselor after finish this seminar. And if you don't know how to choose the school, I think everyone has different preference, but I think you can consider these 4 different categories. One is facility, because the cookery, pastry, is very easy to say in which school has a good facility or not. Or maybe sometimes you prefer small class other than the bigger class. Sometimes you prefer the kitchen facilities in the CBD, or you don't care. Or maybe you focus on the price. Maybe if you have a limited budget, you want to save as much as possible. But some people more focus on industrial connection, which if you don't have much experience, if you want to get some job advice or some placement support from the school, maybe you do more focus on connection other than the price. And lastly, if you don't get much English yet, if you don't meet the entry requirement, maybe you want to start from the English school. So you may consider if the school has a pathway option or not. So those 4 categories, it depends what you want to focus on, what you want to emphasize to select the school. And the entry requirement is basically only 2 requirements. One is English, one is academic requirement. The academic requirement is just your highest degree in your background. It depends on year 11 to 12, sometimes 10 if you start from certificate 3, but most of the case require year 12 or maybe 11. And the English requirement is a bit tricky because this year it has been changed, and some schools require IELTS 5.5, but some schools require 6.0. It all depends on the school, so you need to double check with counselor. So this is pretty much end of the first half. So just a brief recap. So you need to clearly understand what cook and chef or maybe kitchen hands is different. If you want to apply for a visa as a chef, you need to know what chef has to be and what you have to do. And the second, job demand is still high. As we saw, the shortages happen in every state, so it is still a good option. The third, the school tuition fee is going to be increased a lot in next year. We already got some price lists from the school, not all of them, but when we see the price, it was quite different from this year. So if you're still considering about the school, maybe you're better to talk with our counselor today. And also, some school, if you apply in this year, you can keep the 2024 price even though you start the course in next year. So please talk to our counselor, and if you apply today, you get some promotion. So even though you don't have a booking today, you can just go directly and you can talk to our counselor. And the last, entry requirement is different. As we see, the English and academic requirement is all different from each school. So again, please talk to our counselor. So this is pretty much end of the first half. We've been talking about general information about chef, about the occupation information and the job demand, course information. And right now, I think you guys more curious and interested about what is your option in the future, what kind of visa you can get, and how. So I'm going to pass to our migration agent Momo, and she's going to talk more in detail. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Momo and I'm a registered migration agent in Australia. I have been in this industry for about 10 years now. So I have been seeing the migration is going like up and down and up and down. Currently the situation for migration in Australia, I would say it's something is easier and something is more difficult. So I will explain more PR options if you want to study cookery and how you can get your PR in the future. So if you study here in Australia for 2 years, then you are eligible to apply for 485 visa, which is graduate work stream. For this stream, the requirement for the occupation must to be under the MLT SSL, which is under the long-term list. So as Haruki just mentioned, that there are different types of course options. So if you study Certificate 3, which means that you can only do the job as a cook. So something like for TAFE Queensland, they only offer a 3 in patisserie and diploma. So in this case, you cannot apply for 485 visa after you graduate because the 4 is the minimum requirement to become a chef. And chef is under the long-term list, while cook is under the short-term list. Yeah. So make sure when you choose your course and your school, just make sure the course is the right course to study. And yeah, of course, 2-year study. And the IELTS, they just increased the IELTS to IELTS 6.5, no better than 5.5 for PTE, because PTE is more popular these days. So PTE for each band is different requirement. Just bear in mind about this one. And of course, you need to do the skill assessment in order to apply for 485 visa. But skill assessment, there are 4 steps. You only need to do the first step to apply for this visa. And the visa duration during the COVID is 2 years, but now it just come back to 18 months now. Yeah. So this is the skill assessment I just mentioned in previous slides. In order to apply for 485 visa, you only need to finish step 1, which is the provisional skill assessment. Once you finish this one, then you can apply for 485 visa. And then during this one, you need to pass 2, 3, 4, and then once you pass the step 4, means that you complete the full skill assessment, then you are eligible to apply for EOI. And once your point is enough, and then you are invited, then you can apply for PR. So for these steps, the first one is very easy. So you just need to study relevant qualification, like cookery or patisserie, and then with the transcript and qualification, then you can apply. So it's very easy. But for step 2 and step 3, 4, you need to find a restaurant and you need to work there for at least 12 months in order to pass 2, 3, 4. So 2, 3, 4 is more complicated, and we have the service from step 1 to step 4. So if you study and then you are not sure how to do this one, you can always contact us to help you. Yeah, but basically, yeah, just study and then find a job related to chef and then pass the skill assessment to apply for EOI and PR. And there are basically 2 options for skill visa. Skill visa means that you get the visa by yourself. You don't need to ask for your employer to sponsor you. So there are 2 options. One is 189 skill dependent visa. Another one is the state nomination visa. State nomination visa is divided into different categories. One is 190 and 491. 491 is like the regional. You need to study or live or work in a regional area in order to apply for 491 visa. Yeah. So I would say for 189 visa, the situation now is quite tough because the current invitation point for 189 visa as a chef, it's about 90 points. I'm not sure if you have any basic idea about how you calculate your points, but basically if you are young enough, like 25 to 32, then you get 30 points. And if you study here in Australia, you get another 5 points. And then if you have like at least bachelor degree, no matter in your country or in Australia, you get another 15 points. And then if you are single, you get another 10 points. So that's already 60 points. So you need to think about how you can get extra points in order to reach 90 points, which is very difficult. But for last year, the last invitation, for chef occupation, it's only 65 points. So you can see how is the gap. Yeah, it just happened within this 1 year. Yeah. So, but anyway, if they make the 189 visa more difficult, which means they will open another one, which is easier. I will explain later for the sponsorship visa. But anyway, 189 visa for chef may be difficult, but for state nominations, for some states, it's still easy. Like if you want to find a course that can be easy to get an invitation for state nomination, I would recommend West Australia or South Australia, these 2 regional areas, because the policy there is much better than compared to Queensland or those big cities like Sydney or Melbourne, to be honest. Yeah. And for 190 visa, the basic idea is that you need to have at least 60 points, which I just calculated for you earlier, right? 60 points, and then they give you extra 5 points, so you have 65 points. And then for 491 visa, is for regional area visa. So if you apply for this one, they will add up 15 points for you. So the minimum requirement for the state nomination visa is 65 points. So, yeah, but each state is different. So that's why if you have any questions later, then you can talk with our migration agent there. So, yeah, it really depends on the states. And because I just mentioned that chef is under the long-term list and cook is under the short-term list. So cook is not eligible for 189. But for state nomination, chef and cook is you are eligible to apply, but depends on the states if they require the occupation. So for 482 visa, TSS visa, I think currently it's become much easier than before. I think next week, yeah. Before the requirement for working experience is 2 years full-time. But from next week, it will become only 1 year full-time working experience. And previously, they only accept the working experience with full-time position. But now they accept all kind of work type, like casual or contractor. Yeah, no matter what kind of working experience they accept. But at least 1 year working experience. So let's say before students study cookery and they graduate, they only have 1.5 year 485 visa. So for them, it's difficult for them to finish 2 years working experience to get a sponsorship, right? But now it's very, very possible. Yeah, because only 1 year, then you have 1 year and 6 months. So it's very, very possible to apply for 482 visa now. And then before, for cook, it's impossible to apply for PR. But now they change. No matter you are on the long-term list or short-term list, you can apply for PR after 2 years once you get a 482 visa. So for me, I feel like 482 visa is getting more and more easy. Yeah, easier. Yeah, because I have many cases. For 482 visa, it's granted within 3 months. But for like 189 visa and state nomination visa, it really depends on the government. Yeah, so there's more uncertainty. Yeah, and for 494 visa, it's regional area sponsorship visa, and the requirement is quite strict. It requires 3 years working experience, which means that if you study here, then it's almost impossible for you to do this kind of visa. So I think this one is more suitable for overseas clients. They have many years working experience, and then they find some sponsor here in regional area to sponsor them. Yeah. So let's see, 491 skill visa. This is just the quotas for this financial year. You can see that for skill dependent visa, it's it is 189 visa. It's about 16K. And then for regional area, they get 33K. So that's quite, can you see? Oh yeah, it's quite different numbers. So previous I mentioned for the state nomination visa, there's 190 and 491. So 190, they give 33K, while regional area 491, they give 33K as well. So that's the same level, which means that if you choose to study in regional area, and then you can find a job there, then you have more opportunities to get invitation. So if you haven't studied yet, I would highly recommend you to go to the regional area and to study. Yeah. Anyway, they need some more work in the regional area. And for Queensland one, for Queensland's nomination for this year, they changed their policy. Before they can apply for 190 and 491, which means that no matter where you work, even you work in Brisbane, then you can still have the chance to apply for state nomination in Queensland. But this year they changed cook and chef. They are only allowed to apply for 491 visa, which means that if you can study in Brisbane, of course, but after study, you need to find a job in regional area. This is the big change for Queensland. Yeah. So basically, to get PR, you can study 2 years, and anyway, you need to apply for 485 visa because you need more time to prepare for the PR option. Yeah. For the skill independent visa, state nomination visa, and 494 visa, these 3 types of visa, you must have a positive skill assessment, full skill assessment, in order to apply for these 3 kind of visa. But for 482 visa, if you study in Australia, you get a qualification here, then you don't need to pass the skill assessment, which is very, very easy for you. You can save a lot of time and save a lot of money as well. Yeah. So, yes, I believe there are more and more clients would choose 482 visa for their PR option if they want to study cookery, but which means that you will get more competitor as well. Because if you find a job in Sydney, Melbourne, and Queensland, Brisbane, means that you will be, if you believe that you are you are confident with your skills, then of course you can find a job in the big cities. Yeah. But at the same time, if you think that you don't want to get that competitive, I would still recommend you to go to the West Australia or South Australia to study and find a job there. Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's it. Any questions? No. Yeah. Yes.
So do you know how many people who are getting the 189 visa already in this year?
Oh, there's no numbers released yet. But for last one, if you type the 189 invitation round, you can find all the list on the immigration website. Yeah, and it will show what the occupation they are invited and what is the number, like what is the point they invited. But they haven't released the whole quotas like they invited for this financial year.
I'm currently studying cookery in Gold Coast, but now I'm working in Brisbane. Would I lose that 5 points?
For the 189 points?
Yeah.
To study in regional area? Oh, no, you need to study and work in regional area.
For 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we need to study and live in regional areas in there.
Yeah, but for our client before, the immigration request for the evidence that you also work in regional area as well. Yeah, on the website it says that you need to live and study, right? Yeah, but because the client claimed for the working experience as well, so they require the evidence to prove that you also work in a regional area. Unless you don't claim that one, yeah, they will not request for the document. Otherwise, yeah, they will ask you to prove that you've been studying, living, and work there. Any more questions? Yeah.
So is that work in the region area 2 years counted from when? Is it also after study? I mean, to get a 5 point as a regional study, you mentioned that the work has to be in the region area as well, right?
Yeah.
So in those 2 years, is even during the study or the after study, it doesn't matter, the 2 years, it will be the counting.
Oh yeah, I forget to mention about the working experience. For working experience, if it's for the 482 visa, it must count it after you finish diploma. But for like 189, 190, those kind of skill visa, because you need to pass the skill assessment. A skill assessment for chef is a 4, which means that your working experience can be counted after you finish certificate 4 in commercial cookery instead of diploma. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. Because you need to study cookery, right? There's a 4 and diploma. For working experience to apply for sponsorship visa, which is 482 visa, the working experience is only counted after diploma. But for 189, 190, 491, those kind of skill visa, it can be counted after certificate 4 because skill assessment recognize the chef working experience after Cert 4. And state nomination in 189 visa is dependent on the skill assessment. So yeah, the working experience counted period is different. Depends on the visa type. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I'm studying here in TAFE, and after to study the diploma, I will get time to go to other city, for example, Tasmania, but still to apply for one other visa. I will get time. Or after to study the certificate, the diploma in TAFE, I will not get time to go to other city to apply for other new visa.
Yeah, because normally when you apply for student visa, your visa will expire 2 months after you complete your course. So during these 2 months, you have time to go to the regional area and to see if any sponsor want to sponsor you if you have working experience before. Yeah, but if not, you need to apply for 485 visa to extend your stay in Australia and then to find other PR options here.
For other question, if I am studying in Brisbane, can I move to other TAFE, for example, in Tasmania? Is possible in that?
Change the course from TAFE Queensland to TAFE Tasmania.
Oh yeah, why not? If they accept you, then you can go.
But it all depends.
Yeah.
If the TAFE Tasmania gonna accept you or not, case by case.
Yeah, because for Australia study requirement, only if you finish the last course, the principal course, after 6 months, then you can transfer to other school without the permit from the current school. But because cookery is a 4+ diploma, and diploma is your principal course, and it's 6 months, which means that you need to finish diploma so that you can transfer to another school, right? But before you finish your diploma, if you want to transfer, you need to get the permission from your current school so that you can transfer. If they don't agree, then you can't go.
Well, I like to mean that, for example, now I am studying
TAFE,
here
yeah.
in Brisbane, but it would be more easy if I go to Tasmania to study and to find a job. Because here I have a job, but it's very difficult to find a sponsor. Because to get a sponsor, you must be the chef de partie of one hotel or one restaurant. But to get this position, it's not easy. Because you can find a lot of cooks here in Brisbane.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it also depends on, yeah.
Now I start to study there, it's going to be more easy to find these positions.
Yeah. I have many clients in Tasmania as well, and it's easier for them to find a chef position and then move from Brisbane to Tasmania. But I would say it's better for you to finish your study here, and then with your 485 visa, you can find a sponsor there. Yeah, it will be better. Otherwise, if you change your provider now, there might be some issue with your student visa and the school as well.
I just wanted to confirm for TSS visa, it's going to change the work experience requirements is going to be reduced to 1 year.
Yes.
For that, I heard from some other agency or friend, I don't remember from where, but I heard it's going to be counted before graduate as well, even you start the school, but that's not true. So I heard like after graduate, if you find the right sponsor, because of that change, you're gonna be able to start the sponsorship visa directly without 485. I'm here to check that as well.
Okay.
They have work experience as a chef in their own country
Yeah.
and apply for TSS.
Oh yes, that's okay. If you already have working experience before, if your working experience is before you start to study your cookery course, then it can also be counted as a working experience to apply for TSS.
Only if I have the experience before starting the course.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
it's not a change. It's always like this.
Even that's not from the overseas. Even that is.
Here, yeah, it's okay. Anywhere, the working experience is counted anywhere. Yeah, as long as you can prove that you already before your study, you already reached that level as a chef, then it's okay. It can be counted as your working experience.
We also got one question from online.
Yeah.
I can read. Okay, so one question say, do we still have to wait for 3 years assessment later to apply 191 after 491 visa? 491 visa granted?
Yes,
So
yes.
still-
TR to PR, yes.
Yeah, still need to wait 3 years.
Yeah, the difference is that they don't require the income. So even you don't have a job, that's okay. Okay. Yep. If you have any more questions, you can talk to me later after this seminar. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
say something?
Hi.
It's much better if you can stay that side.
Over here? Is it going online too? Okay.
Guys, it would be much better if you can come forward.
Hi everyone. I'm Nina from Korea team. I'm taking construction part, and I'm going to explain you about how you study for construction courses, and then after that you're going to have migration seminar as well. So construction has four big parts: carpentry, cabinet making, painting, and tiling. So all the occupations related to those courses are listed in MLT-SSL, which you can go for PR. And then you have a lot of you have full PR options after studying too, and all skill assessment regarding these occupations are done by TRA. So that's the basic information about those courses. So first, I'm going to tell you general information and salary and what comes after studying one by one by occupation, and then school and course information. So I'm going to go through this part really briefly. So if you want to talk more and learn more based on your situation, then you can have one-to-one consultation out at the booth. And then this is the most important part, which is changes in 2025. Immigration, Australian government and immigration, they will start big changes in 2025, which can affect to student visa a lot. So we are going to talk about this part at the end. And then after that, we're going to have Q&A. But if you have questions, you can raise your hand, and then we're going to talk about it in the middle. So why we need to study construction courses in Australia? Australia has big demand for construction occupations, so there are always low unemployment rate in Australia, and good salary for occupations, mostly like 70 or 80K a year, and as long as you're studying more than 92 weeks in Australia, then you can have extra visa options after studying, for example, like graduate visa or like PR visa, including like 189, 190, 491, and TSS visa. And this is why it can be beneficial to study construction courses in Australia. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. So first one is carpenter. So to be an official carpenter in Australia, you can have 3 occupation options. First one is carpenter and joiner, and carpenter and joiner. Joiner is more like hinge or locks. It's part of carpentry works. And carpenter work includes understanding quality and usage of woods and tools, or like making frames and cutting boards, and ends up completing buildings. So this is from immigration website called, if you search skilled occupation list on Google, then you can search these occupation names, and then you can find more details about the occupations. So this is what you will do as a carpenter, and this is also what will be recognized as a carpenter officially. And carpenter in Australia, they're always highly demanded, and this is from SICK.com, where you use a lot, and there are a lot of job opportunities and high salary. So especially in Queensland has a lot of percentage of wooden houses, so they always need repair, and then people always want to build more houses in with woods. So there are always big demand for carpenters. And then salary, that's average salary, but up to your experience, it can go up anytime. So to start your PR path with studying carpentry course in Australia, you need to take Certificate 3 course. That's mandatory course. That's mandatory minimum course, and you need to study at least 92 weeks. That's the condition to apply for graduate visa. So this is option 1, Certificate 3 in carpentry. This is the basic option that schools give you, but up to school, sometimes they give you 1 year of Certificate 3 in carpentry and Certificate 4 in building and construction for a year. So even if you take this course, this first course, if you want to develop your expertise and then you want to make extra time when you are not able to apply for graduate visa after, for example, if you are over 35, you cannot apply for a graduate visa, right? In that case, you can take another construction-related course so that you can make time for proceeding your PR. Yes. And in Queensland, basically all the schools are located in Brisbane, Gold Coast, and Sunshine Coast. So I'm going to mainly talk about Brisbane, those 3 areas. So in Brisbane, you can choose those options. For the schools in Brisbane City, they have campuses in the middle of city, so you can go with theory units, and then they mostly have practice campus in out of CBD. So TAFE Queensland has campus in Acacia Ridge, and Everthought is in Salisbury, and Liberty is in Moree. So practice campuses, they're mostly out of CBD. And this is Gold Coast options, and this is Sunshine Coast options. So if you study in Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast, you can claim for extra 5 points for studying in regional areas. If you do point-based PR, you can claim 4 extra points. So this is basic tuition fee. If you want to talk about some promotions, or if you can check English requirements, then we can help out in the booth. Any questions so far? Okay. The next one is cabinet maker. As a cabinet maker, officially your occupation will be cabinet maker, and the job covers from understanding timber, cutting timber, and shaping woods, and assembling little pieces into furnitures. And it also includes small works like hinge or locks, and then also repair works. And still, it has a lot of job opportunities in Australia, especially in Queensland, and high salary. As long as construction industry is growing, we are expecting there will be growing demand for cabinet maker as well. And also, compared to carpenter, especially cabinet maker, you can work indoors, and which means you have less limitation from weathers. It means if it's too cold, if it's raining, if it's snowing, you can still work. So it means you can have stable salary. And if you are good with details, then it will help a lot. So that's, yeah. And then there are a lot of females in the industry too. So same as carpenter, you need to take Certificate 3 at least. That's minimum academic requirement. So most of schools are providing Certificate 3 in cabinet making, or sometimes it's labeled as Certificate 3 in cabinet making and timber technology. So this is in Queensland, there are only few options for cabinet maker. In Queensland, there are only 2 schools, TAFE and SITE. TAFE Queensland, you can choose Acacia Ridge or Ashmore in Gold Coast. If you study in Gold Coast, then you can claim that 5 more points for studying in regional area. Yes, and SITE is, the campus is in Brisbane in Cooper's Plain. Any questions? Thank you. And the next one is painter. Official name for painter is painting and trade workers. Job description, it includes from scaffolding and mixing and selecting paints and smoothing surfaces and actually applying paints. And also it includes wallpapers or making patterns on the wall as well. Also high demand and 75K salary average. As you know, Australian housing cultures, people prefer painting to wallpaper, right? So a lot of people change their wall painting like every year, so you always can have a lot of work. And also it will help you if you're good with details or color, or when you are good at drawing, then it can help a lot. Because sometimes painters actually draw something on the wall. So if you're good at drawing, that it will give you another benefit. Same here, Certificate 3 is required for proceeding your PR. So most of schools are providing Certificate 3 in painting and decorating for 2 years, but some schools, they also have another option with 1 year and 1 year. Building and construction is mainly about carpenter course, but still you can develop your skills. In Brisbane, Everthought and Liberty. Everthought is in Salisbury, and Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast. So next one is tiler. Official name is wall and floor tiler. The work is including removing old tiles and preparing surfaces and cutting tiles for the space. And it also includes like waterproofing, coloring, and patterning as well. And you know, for tile industry, there's always like continuously changing trends. So it's good to know like what is popular right now, what trend has already gone. For job opportunity, I feel like you're thinking this number is really small compared to other occupations, but especially tile industry, they have a lot of small businesses are there, and many people are working with their own ABN. So this number doesn't actually show how many jobs are there in the industry. And also it has big salary. I think many of you are living in houses with tiles in your kitchen, your like bathroom and your room floor. So there are always a lot of demand, always big request for like changing or repairing. So this job also helps you if you're good with details, because you have to check like how big space what exact size would be fitting into the space. So you have to cut it in detail. So in course, same here, Certificate 3 is required, and mostly it's called Certificate 3 in wall and floor tiling, and if you want, then you can choose another option, like construction-related options. Yeah, so this is in Brisbane, and this is in Gold Coast, this is in Sunshine Coast. Same here, if you study at Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast, you can claim for another points. And most schools, I guess you saw a lot of schools they have all courses for each occupation, right? So it means they share the practice spot. So like at this part, people make cabinets. At this part, people make buildings, small buildings, and inside that buildings, you paint and tile so that you can actually learn like how it goes in the real industry. Okay, so mostly the certificate 4 in construction and building, that course is directly related to carpentry course, but if still it's related to tile, painting, and cabinet making. So if you need extra visa options with student visa because maybe you are over 35 and you cannot apply for a graduate visa, then you can study certificate 4 or diploma only when it's related to construction. So this is the most important part today. In 2025, immigration, Australian governments will make a big difference. So it's all about numbers. So they will allow only 105,000 students for public universities like QUT or UQ, and they allowed 30,000 students for private universities like Bond in the Gold Coast. And this part is very important because construction is in the VET courses. So they only allow 95,000 students next year. This is because there are like before COVID and during COVID, there were still too many international students. Especially this blue part is for VET courses. Can you see? 168, 165, 135, 146, 190. Last year, there were 190,000 students studying VET in Australia. So Australian government thinks it's too many students. So they want to cut the number, which is to 95,000. So this is less than half compared to last year. So this means we're expecting there will be big raise in tuition fee. So it's not only raising tuition fee, it will make difference in like payment plans, which can burden international students a lot, and also more visa rejection cases. So it's very clear that Australian immigrants want qualified students. So what we are expecting, what we ask students, what we recommend students is to start your studying in 2024, because until 2024 December, still it's not under control by this law because it's starting from 2025. And we recommend students to make related history to the course. For example, like you only worked in business area, you worked in marketing company, and then you want to study like cabinet making, then from immigration point of view, they think you're not really genuine student. So if you want to plan to start your course this year or next year, we highly recommend to make some, could be like making some small furnitures as a hobby, or you can do part-time, or you can study and then you can make it as a proof, like an actual proof, then it will help you with your student visa. And also English score, cabinet making or like carpenter, like for construction parts, you have a lot of situations that you need to talk with clients, or you have to talk and change some plans. So the better your English is, the more chances you can get. And also you need to work with well-prepared agencies like us. So that's my big tip. Yeah, so all VET schools are making more intakes in November or December. There are a lot of new intakes this year, and then they are giving you a lot of promotions to help you start within 2024. So yeah, if you are planning to study like early in 2025, then I think it's really good decision to start this year. Yeah, and price-wise, it's not really clear yet, but we're expecting at least 25 to 30% raise. So we will be big difference next year. Okay, so any questions?
If I will work, I'm gonna say between how can I say that? Student, and I'm a student, and I will work in a construction job. Is that any like the experience in the background or something like that?
For getting work,
For example, like 189 or 482.
that will be explained in migration part as well. But that's up to which visa you want to apply for PR. So if it's TSS visa, then you can claim experience while you're studying. But before studying, that's really tricky to say. It's up to how immigration decides. Yeah. But if you start working, if you start looking for jobs even before studying, then it means you can have more chances to get work while you're studying.
Yes,
I'm in the situation that I already applied a pathway course from IELTS to carpentry course, but I'm considering I need to gain more my English skill, so which need like extra few months to study. However, what's gonna happen to my next intake is July.
Yeah.
So I got like half a year left. So is it the fees a change?
If you already got, have you already got your COE?
Yes.
Okay, then in that case, it's up to 2024. Like it's for 2024 tuition. But still, like I'm not sure what your school will do next year. If they ask you, little possibility of asking you, but still, your COE was published in 2024,
Yes.
right? So it means basically it's up to 2024 tuition fee.
Currently, my boyfriend is studying with TAFE in the carpentry courses, and if he wants to apply for the building and construction course instead of applying for a graduation visa, is it possible to apply just 1 year courses instead of working?
It's up to how immigration decides, but it's comparatively safer if it's related to your previous course. Yeah, because you studied carpentry and then studied building and construction. It seems like you want to develop your skill, right? You want to develop your qualification, and if you only have Certificate 3 qualification, then there's restriction of like the levels of building, and then you can, in that case, you can explain like I want to develop my skill, I want to develop my qualification, so that I can have more job options, so that your boyfriend can seem genuine student.
And also, he is working as a casual, like a limited time during the limited time, and he is working with the construction company right now. So is it possible to get the points or experience it while he is a student? He's working as a carpenter in his company, right? So can he get the points of experience?
Point-based PR path, they require experience after skill assessment. Yeah, so it means you have to finish your academic requirement and then get skill assessment. So the experience is whether you finished your skill assessment, whether you passed skill assessment. Yeah. Any?
I want to ask hard questions. When we graduate some carpentry or wallpaper, whatever, and she said like taking another course which related to course, what will happen to the graduation visa?
If it's related course, then you can apply for a graduate visa after that, only when you are under 35, under 36. Any extra questions? So if you want to have like individual one-to-one consultation, I'm gonna wait outside. So after your migration seminar, you can come to construction booth for questions.
Just, one question on that. If we have enrolled and got a COA in this year's, would we be counted in the amount of 270K in the next year as well?
We think if you got COE this year, then we think it's out of that cap. But you have to wait until like what immigration officially gives another opinion about it.
Does recreation officer comes under you? Recreation officer.
Creation?
Recreation officer.
Recreation officer. Recreation officer, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. And like any chance of getting 189 on 80 points civil construction design?
Oh, can you hold that question to migration's part? Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Registered migration agent. So I'm gonna just explain about how you're gonna prepare for the PR pathway or something like that. So in Brisbane, overall in Queensland, they are really busy to prepare for the 2032 Olympics. And then housing problem is always just issues in the media. And so in the construction field, it's highly demanding now. So as you see, I just drew some kind of like a timeline for you guys to prepare the PR. So once you start your degree with us, and you can do your skill assessment while you are doing your course. So after 2 years, you can apply the 485 visa, which is a graduate visa. It can just make you guys to stay in Australia for like 1 year and 6 months and 2 years. It's up to the degree. And while you staying in Australia, you can make the EOI, which is the expression of interest. It's kind of like showing your intention to get an invitation from like a state or government. So you have to make the EOI, and once you get the invitation, you can apply the PR visa application, and then you will get the PR. Otherwise, if you don't get an invitation while you are staying in Australia, you can prepare another visa like by your sponsor or by your work experience. That's the common timeline for the general. Yeah. So if you see here, the most important thing you consider is the occupation. So you know that these days many people get a PR by like a nurse or doctors or something like that. But you know that, as you know, Queensland government don't give any invitations for nurses as well. Until from July till now, there's no invitations for nurse. But the interesting thing is that the carpenters is the one of 20 occupations that the invitations very like how can I say that? Just the most invitation cases for the carpenter. So the reason why we just sort out the 4 occupations is pretty common in Queensland and all over the Australia. So for the water and flow tiler occupations, you can be like a tiler, and then you can extend your like a careers to like a plaster or waterproofers or something like that. And the cabinet maker, you can just like extend your CAD draft or like a draft person or something like that. And the painter is same like a tiler, is a plaster or draft person. You can extend your knowledge and then career. And the carpenter and joiner is the same. Yeah, you can extend like a builder or something. And your future employer will be really happy if you have a big knowledge and good careers, and your future employer will pay, like happily pay to you, like 80 grand or 70 grand. It's pretty common. So, you know, MLT SSL and ST SOL, I highly recommend to choose MLT SSL occupation because ST SOL is gonna be removed maybe in your future. So I'm not recommending that kind of list. So there's a 2 PR pathway for general. So independently or by employer. So before I just explain about the pathway, I'm gonna show you about all the visa options for these 4 occupations. So you see that carpenters, all visa options open. And it's hard to see, but 65 points. Last month they got an invitation. And painting is same, 65 points and all visa options open. And water and flow tiler, 65. And cabinet maker, 65, all visa options open. I don't know how just people don't just book this consultation because it's really demanding these days. And if you go to this stream or these occupations, yeah, think about it. Just it's really hard to get a student visa these days, right? But when you, after 2 years, when you graduate from this degree, there's not many competitors. Yeah, and still, it's really demanding. 65 points. I think after 2 years, many people get a invitation with the 65 points as well. That's what I'm just thinking. So for the independent skill visa by yourself, you should get you should consider about your situation, like age or career or degrees or something like that. And you have to make the 65 points out of your circumstance. And then you can apply like a EOI, and through the EOI, you can get an invitation. So when you finish your 2 years course, you can apply for the 485 visa, which is a graduate visa. So from the VET program, you can get a 1 year and 6 months graduate visa, which is the graduate work stream. So you have to get a occupation list from the MLT-SSL and 2 years study and IELTS. And they just increased the score, so it's really hard. And skill assessment, as I told you that, just you can do this while you are doing the study. So you can, how can I say that? It's hard to say. It's up to all the occupations. So TRA has their own policies and standard to measure it. So cabinet maker, painter, and they have all different. Yeah, so I cannot explain everything. But you know, as you see, you can get a 18 months graduate visa, and then you can build up your careers, and you can make English score 7.0, something like that. And if you can earn more a point, you can. It's the better way. The more you can get an invitation, the more chance. Yeah. So So if you get an invitation, if you try to get an invitation, you have to follow these three. Yeah, three, yeah, right. So 189 is from the Australian government, and 190 is state government, like Queensland or New South Wales. And 491 is like regional certified body. So it is already like designated by the Australian government. So we can find this one if you guys want. And that's the overall PR pathway by yourself. It's the points-based PR pathway. And at least, as I told you there, just you have to get at least 65 points. But most case, if your age is between like 25 to 32, 25 and 32, and if you have a bachelor degree, you already have 55 points. So you need 10 points more, yeah, if your condition is like that. So once you get a 7.0, you can get a 10 points, and 1 year work experience in Australia, another 5 points. If you study in the Gold Coast area, 5 points, that makes 20 points, and it's gonna be a how can I say that now? 5, and 17 maybe? Yeah, that's the pathway. But important thing is that these days, software engineer or accountant, you have to get a minimum like a 90 or 95 points. But I show you that 65 points from the construction, just occupations, is really, really good. And if you cannot get an invitation, how can we do it? I think it's really, really important to get a job while you're holding the graduate visa. And then you can use your employer to get a permanent resident visa. So last year, 52,000 visa applications was launched and granted. And we need a company, which is employer, and they will apply for the sponsorship and nomination for you. And once they nominate you guys, you guys can make the application based on the requirement here. So if you can meet these requirements, you can stay in Australia for 2 to 4 years more. And once you work 2 years here, you can be nominated 186 visa by your employer again. So for the 482, you have to get a permanent resident visa by your employer. But 494, if you work in regional area for 3 years under the same employer, you can apply PR by yourself. You don't need any employer when you apply for the PR visa. So I think it's better, yeah. But many people know that skill in demand. They just government try to introduce another pathway, and they're gonna close. Maybe I don't know. They're gonna close or not, or they're gonna amend or not. I don't know. But they're gonna introduce the skill in demand in the near future. So it's same. Employer side is same, but the skill in demand pathway just has some categories, and then you can just we don't have many information about skill in demand, but what I expect is Australian government they try to remove the underscore code and then introduce new occupation list. So underscore code is related to New Zealand. So Australia and New Zealand, we shared both occupation lists together, but they just decide to separate it. So from 6th of December, we're gonna get the Oscar. And then this can be another CSOL list. Yeah, CSOL is gonna be used for the visa options, but this Oscar is just occupation list. Don't be confused about it. Occupation list, and then based on this occupation list, they're gonna pick up the occupations for visa options. And this is just general information of in-demand visa. And I think that's it. That's I can show you all. And for the last thing, this is interesting. So I bring just two things, two occupations, only two occupations. Painting trade worker, which is painter. 189 last month, like 75, 70, 65. Yeah, they got an invitation. 190, this number. So you can picture it if you want. So I can prove that 6,512 people get an invitation as a carpenter and 189 visa. Yeah, so highly demanded. It's really highly demanded. I don't know why people just always apply for the cookeries or some accounting, IT. Nah, that's the best way. As far as I know, this one is the best way. Yeah. I've been here for 15 years, and yeah, Tyler, painter, heaps of money. They earn heaps of money. I know my friends, they are rich, but I'm not. I graduated from QUT, and as a software engineer, nah, where I am, I'm here. And my old friend, Tyler and painter, they're just on the boat now. Yeah, this is the next step, next phase. Yeah. Yep, that's it. So, do you have any questions? Yep.
So before enter the school, so do I need to get the assessment side? Kind of like the IELTS 5.5, 6?
As far as I know, it's not. They have their own like English test. So if you don't have like a official IELTS score, you can pass their own English test, and then you can enroll it.
So if I have like IELTS tests, like maybe 6 over or something like that. So I know that depends on our schools, but like
Yeah.
normally I can enter
Diploma.
without
Maybe without. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Normally they require like a 6.0 or at least 5.5 to try. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. No worries. That's it. Okay, thank you so much. If you have any inquiry about schools or migration, you can go to the waiting area and then ask them to book. Yeah, and thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
migration part. So why to become a draft person? This is an on-demand career, especially right now that we have, Australia is an ever-developing country. So we have a lot of employment at the moment with a like qualified draft person. They have a good salary compared to others occupations. They do have PR option as it is a high-demand career. And they have a strong future growth because Australia is continually growing. So we need more buildings, more construction, and we need people that help this construction. So it's the draft person. So the occupation general information is this is the ANSCO code. That way you can check what is the occupation. So in general, the civil engineering draft person prepares detailed drawings and plans for the civil engineering work in support of the civil engineering professionals or technologists. And registration or licensing might be required. What does this mean? So the draft person is the person that is inside during the construction, measuring the land, checking the drawings and everything is correct for the civil engineer do his part of the job, okay? So what qualification do we need to be a draft person in Australia? We need a skill level 2. Which means you can either have a diploma, an associate degree, or an advanced diploma, at least in Australia, okay? So general salary information per year, a draft person can make $74,000 a year. This is an average. You can go even over this salary or less this salary. And some course information about this. They have different names for these occupations. There are different courses and schools that provide this course. We have an advanced diploma of civil construction designs, and some schools as Albright, SSVT, Everthought, and International House offer this course. Important right now, I don't know if you guys have heard about the caps. It's very likely the next year, Australia will approve a law that will limit the amount of international students in Australia. So it's very likely that most schools will be very strict about their requirements to get into their courses. So what schools are doing right now is that if you have the possibility to start your course during this year, you are very likely to get into the school, more likely than next year. So it's very important that if you are maybe in a working holiday visa or in a COVID visa or any kind of visa that doesn't limit you to start your study this year, it might be a good option to think about that. Other options that we have to study is the Diploma of Civil Construction Design. This is a dual diploma with the drafting diploma. It's only offered at Site Institute, and it has the same outcome as the previous school. And we also have the Associate Degree of Civil Engineering in TAFE, Queensland. As I said, all of these are a skill level 2, so you will meet the requirements to be a draft person here in Australia. And in terms of the entry requirements to this course, we have the English requirements. Every school has different entry requirements, but these are the most general ones. For English, we have the PT 50 overall. And for IELTS, we have the academic IELTS 6. And for academic, they mostly just require for you to have a high school degree. But some schools might require you to have maybe some related experience to this course. So you won't have a hard time during this learning experience. So mostly these courses, what they need you or what they teach you about is about learning how to risk management in construction using the AutoCAD or the 3D printer to do different kind of projects. And these are the requirements for you to meet. No.
Hello everyone. My name is Namo Kim. I'm the senior migration agent at Seoul Edu. So today, as Noelia already explained you about this course and then this occupation, but I more like to explain about the opportunity and visa options. So to be honest, this course was pretty much new, but as a kind of the biggest education agent with 5 migration agents, we already see the potential, and we promoted this course since I think 2017, because at that time TAFE was the only provider in Queensland offering this course. Then we didn't expect that much, but outcome was great, to be honest. We see that our students really get a job as a draft person and also having a permanent residency in here. So since then, we start to promote, but COVID hit, then many different schools actually start to offer this course. And now, to be honest, there are lots of schools in here and lots of students just study. But students who make a successful story is always find a job. If you find a job after the course, then there are lots of opportunities. So if you decide to study this course, then you have to think about how you can find a job in the future after completion of a course. Then maybe I can say that what's the importance when you doing the interview for this job is English, to be honest. Entry requirement, what Noelia mentioned, is just IELTS 6.0, right? Or some school just require the IELTS 5.5, which is not really high. But in reality, your role as a draft person is the people who communicate with real world, the site. So civil engineer technician, and they are working on the site, and they are having some issue. They send a message, a call, and office, the draft person in office, they communicate and fix, send it again, and something like that. So the communication is very important for this job. So I always emphasize my students that, English, that you should think about English. The other one, and school teach a bit of the AutoCAD and everything. So lots of engineering background students can have good skills in AutoCAD and things, but non-engineering background students, they have to find out the extra classes or online classes to learn more about the drafting skills. Luckily, now some of the schools offering many different options, but I believe that you must find your own way to learn and develop some more skills for drafting. So, civil engineering draft person is getting popular. And then, now the important point in here that I really want to emphasize to you guys is the occupation. New occupation list will be released soon in Australia. And this occupation list is managed by the Jobs and Skills Australia. We call the JSA. And we call the new occupation list CSO, it's Core Skilled Occupation List. And then this occupation list will replace any other occupation list for the migration purpose. So now, many people worried about my occupation will be under this occupation list or not. But this draft person, civil engineering draft person, is already on the competent list, which means once they release the final occupation list, then draft person, civil engineering draft person will be more likely to be in this occupation list. So I can say this is demanding and then still have a great opportunity in the future as well. And the other opportunity here that I want to mention, it's not from my opinion. You can see lots of articles and news saying about the shortage about the construction workers and then housing problem. Civil engineering draft person is not exactly people who are drawing the house, but it's more like the structure. But some of them, I see the many company that our students work for is also doing some of housing, townhouse, village, related infrastructure. So anyway, those news are related with draftsperson job as well. And another thing, looking about the 2032, that Brisbane Olympic, what do we have to do? We invite many different people from the world, right? But do you think we are ready in Brisbane? No. Then government is already on the plan for preparing many different things. The most important thing is they're building more infrastructure to accommodate more people from the world. And also, they are building up the stadium, right? So that all the things they need for having a successful event in Brisbane is related with the construction and construction-related occupation, which is a civil engineering draftsperson. So that's why I'm saying that, this will bring lots of opportunity for our students who complete course and then having a job. I'll talk a little bit more about the migration outcome as well with this occupation, but now I'll give you about the skill assessment information. Very important. So in Australia, government giving a migration opportunity for the skilled people, skilled person. But how government identify you are the skilled person as a civil engineering draft person? They don't know, to be honest. The government officer on the office, they are just checking the requirement and then grant the visa or refuse the visa. So that's why the government allocate specific government agency or authority to assess whether you are qualified person or not. So that's why most of occupation have a different authority to assess their skills. For example, IT people is assessed by the ACS, Australia Computer Society. And engineers assessed by Engineers Australia. And chef is assessed by Trade Recognition Australia. So all different assessment from the different assessment authority. Then they can identify, you are qualified, you are skilled person, then I'm ready to apply the permanent visa. And then government is considering about your profile to giving you an invitation. So before you pass the skill assessment, you have a very limited opportunity to get the PR. So it is very important you to understand what is the requirement of the skill assessment before you start or before you make a decision to study this course. So civil engineering draft person, luckily, we have two different options. One, actually from Engineers Australia. The other one from Betasis. So most of occupation, they have only one authority to assess the application and skill assess. But civil engineering draft person have two options. But they are different, so you have to clearly understand, okay? They are different. Okay, I'm going through the Engineers Australia first. Engineers Australia was very generous before the July this year. But now they have a change. And they only accept the application from the students who complete accredited course. In Queensland, TAFE Queensland is the only provider offering accredited course under the Engineers Australia, which means if you complete any other college for advanced diploma, you cannot take the skill assessment process with the Engineers Australia. Understand? So TAFE Queensland is the only provider to offers the accredited course, which is associate degree in civil engineering. So for example, if you complete this course at TAFE, you don't need to worry about anything. Just completion study, make application, and you will have a positive outcome. You don't need English. You don't need experience. You only need your passport and school completion letter. Because your course, TAFE, is already accredited by Engineers Australia. But before the July, most of the other colleges also can go through the Engineers Australia because they accepted 2 years advanced diploma course, even though it's not accredited. But I put the line, not anymore. So only accredited course at the TAFE Queensland can go through the EA skill assessment. But don't worry about it because TAFE is too expensive, to be honest. The tuition fee is very expensive. So many students are looking into the 2 years advanced diploma. But you should understand the difference and then make a final decision, okay? If you not complete your course from the TAFE, the other skill assessment authority is BETASYS. Again, back to TAFE, what do you need? You don't need anything. Just complete the 2 years study. No English, no experience, just pass. But BETASYS, we need 1 year post-work experience. So once you complete the study, you must find a job and have at least 20-hour part-time job for 1 year. Then you can start the process. So let's say we are talking about the skilled visa later on, 189, 190, 491. So my friend who complete our study, this study at the TAFE, as soon as they complete the study, they are ready to go through the skilled visa preparation because they passed the skill assessment. But students who complete the private college for advanced diploma or double diploma, then once they complete study, they apply the graduate visa and they have another 1 year experience. Then finally, they have a positive outcome to start the skill visa process. So that's the difference. That's the difference. So when I explain this one, some student, okay, I'm confident, still go with private college because tuition fee is almost half in the private college. But TAFE, it's double, right? Tuition fee is almost double. So that's why many students still choosing the TAFE Queensland because of what they want to take this benefit. But it's up to you guys, okay? But again, if you don't know this difference, then you make decisions. Then later on, you may have some. I should decide to go through this way, something like this. But what I want to say in this seminar is that at least you know the clear pathway and requirement. Then you make a decision and prepare. Once you complete the 2 year study, the next visa you apply for is graduate visa. So from this year, the name has been changed to the post-vocational education work stream. So this is a 1.5 year visa that you can work full-time. You don't need to study anymore. This is the visa that you apply based on your study completion in Australia. But again, this one needs skill assessment to apply. But again, BETASYS, what I said, we need a 1 year experience to apply, right? So how we can make an experience? Doesn't make sense, but don't worry about it. Here, the BETASYS provide a provisional skill assessment service, separate service, then they will use for the graduate visa application, but that cannot use for the permanent visa application, only for the graduate visa, then they don't need the experience. But later on, anyway, on the graduate visa, students have to find a job and they have a 1 year experience, part-time is okay. Then finally, they can pass the full skill assessment from the BETASYS. But Engineering Australia, you don't need to worry about it. Just the qualification, pass the full skill assessment from the first. And I really want to say here, there is a point. Here, IH 6.5, PT 57 has been increased. Since new requirement is come up, then I see that many of our students cannot apply the graduate visa, especially for the vocational level study. Students from vocational study. I really want you to think English seriously. I've been in this industry about 15 years now, and whenever big waves come, then they have changed something, then two things never changed. Two things. Importance of English, the other one is job, employment. So this time again, they will continuously review the English requirement and may request higher and higher. And again, the draft person job is not just about working alone. No. Civil engineering draft person is the position that communicate with the site. Have to clearly understand. You know, construction guys, the English, very hard to understand, to be honest, as an international background. Even me, even carpenter come to my house and blah, blah, blah. Can you speak slowly? So, but your job, your role, have to communicate with those guys. So English. So my students, I line up the students who got a PR. We had a testimonial, have a video or presentation session, always talk with them. They always try to improve their English. And also, they did extra job, like AutoCAD education from the online. You have lots of resources in here these days. But if you just stick with the study from the school, then you cannot differentiate with other your classmates. Then how you can find a job? It's very important. Okay, then you got a graduate visa and you got a 1 year experience, or you go through the EA, then finally you got a skill assessment as well. Then what's the next step is here. You can finally prepare 189, 190, 491 skilled visa, which is a point-based, and the other one, employer sponsor visa, which is the employer sponsor base. So skilled visa, your point is very important, your point. 189, they don't care about your location. They don't care you are currently working or not. They don't care you study in Australia or not. Just the points. If you have a higher point, you will be invited. But 190 and 491 is state nomination based, means your state have a different requirement. Everyone may heard that Queensland have a very limited quota for the state nomination. It's the smallest among the state, to be honest, compared to the size of education. But like this, see the invitation recently happened in the 189. Even chef, and they are very high point. So I usually say to my students, chef, you can do, but employer sponsor visa can be a very good option. That you have a good relationship with your head chef or boss to having an employer sponsorship. But look at this one. Civil engineer, draft person, even this is lower than civil engineer. This is not what I made. This is from the immigration website. It's about the September one. And then see the construction one, the carpenter. Minimum point, 65. So this is telling us that government really need people in construction area. And the other one, that we got the state nomination last year, that still with a very low point and skill visa. Many things happen in this occupation. So that's why we are a bit confident about what you're able to do is about your English and job. Because these two visas, 190, 491, even though you have 100 points in the 189, your English is very good, but if you cannot employ it in Queensland or Victoria or whatever state, then you will lose the opportunity, because this state nomination always prioritize the applicants who are currently working in that state. So the job is very important. And the other employer nomination scheme, the employer sponsored visa, Now the 482 TSS visa, whatever, it's about the job, right? But I'm not talking only this specific occupation, but all the occupation who are aimed to get a PR, now the job is the most important thing with English. But especially for this occupation, again that I mentioned that how many opportunities already on the list, and then many good news is coming up for this specific occupation, right? Then there, naturally there will be more job opportunity. So this is not my opinion, but based on the evidence that we also seeing our students as well. And what's gonna be changed? Now, employer sponsor visa gonna be changed to the skills in demand visa, which is now we call the TSS visa, but it changed to the skill in demand visa. And under the skill in demand visa, we have 3 different pathways. The first pathway is kind of the highly skilled workers, like the AI related occupation that they earn over 135,000 K, 135,000. So this is not a pathway we target to. But second pathway is about the core skill pathway. So the draft person will be in here. But under this second pathway, your salary becomes very important. So your salary must be located between 73,150 to 135K. So your salary must be over 73,150. I mean annual salary. So this is the second pathway. Third one is giving the labor agreement, like aged care. But I see the many conference in here. Lots of people in this industry saying that next labor agreement can be construction related, child care related, because government needs more people in there. And this is the kind of the SIG.com information, because Noelia earlier provided 2 general like salary information. So when you start maybe look into that information, that's okay. But when you really look into the Brisbane job market, in here this information from the 1st of November. So the average salary is already over 75,000. So, okay, let's go back to the salary requirement for the second pathway in skilled in demand visa is 73, right? But what really happened in the market is already 75 above. That means if you have a relatively some experience and get a job in the market in Brisbane now, the salary is here. I don't want to talk about my opinion. Okay, your salary is high. Look at the SIG.com. They bring everything, to be honest. It's from the few weeks ago, 75 above. So it's kind of the high salary occupation with a great opportunity. This is one of our students who got a PR pathway through the civil engineering draftsperson, and then she's still working as a drafter in the construction company. And then she is the part of her portfolio that she produced, and then she was also graduate from the private college, so that's why she also goes through the beta sys. But right after she complete the course, she need another 2 months to find the job. But in 2 months, she got a job, and she complete the 1 year experience and apply beta sys with us, and then finally she get a permanent visa through the skilled visa. So I talked a lot with this lady, and she is very friendly, and then try to provide the many other advice. Then what she said to our students last time is English. English. the skills and then the most of non-background, engineering background students can catch up with the extra work and things. But she said, first time that she go for work is the difficulty comes from the communication with the outside of the office. When the call, they request, this part, I don't know, can you measure again and send back to the draft? She have to understand and draw, revise, and then have to send again, right? So the English is very important. So yeah, this is her journey that she took everything with me. Then finally she got a 189 invitation with not really high point, to be honest. Invitation. So this one is about what's next. So if you are already studying something, that's okay. But if you are planning to study from next year, especially vocational sector, it's gonna be very difficult for the student visa and getting admission. And even though you get an admission to the school, the price will be at least 30% increase. That's what they confirm because government imposed the cap for each school. So they said, your school only 200 new students next year. 200 is actually really a lot for the, but in reality, we see some schools have only 30 cap. A lot. It's on the public, you can check. So the school, they have to increase the tuition fee. So that's why we urgently plan this kind of event for you guys. So go to outside and then ask with our staff, salary difference, and then some school, I don't know which school exactly, but some school, if we apply the school this year, then they will keep the price in this year price, even though you start from next year. So there are lots of opportunity, and then scholarship is available for the students who start this year, but start this year means next month, so I think it's a bit difficult, but at least you apply and get a this year price, and then later you decide and pay and start the course. Otherwise, it's not from my word, but 30% increase is confirmed for all the schools. So if you have time, outside and talk with our staff. There is a booth for the draft person. They have all the price for each school, right? Yeah. And any question about draft? Anything about migration, okay. Because we have time. So not just about draft person is okay. Anything.
Yeah. I want to know about her. So who is like already graduate, and then I got the skilled visa, right? So I want to know about the background. She already had the experience of like the draft person or not?
No, the lady that I show she has engineering background, but she wasn't the draft person. But she completed the engineering degree in Columbia, and then she was working as an engineer, but was not a draft person. It's different. But she has a kind of the understanding about the engineering. But we have another 2 Korean lady that doesn't have anything at all, the background. No background.
So now the 2 person is a student now in a school of the draft person, right?
No, they got PR.
Oh, okay.
They got a job. They work in the one in Ipswich, one in Gold Coast. Yeah. Right after completion. But what they did is during the summer break, they went back to their home country and have a private learning about the software skills, and they have extra work. That's the common thing. And then when they started this study, because one of them is my student and it's our students, both of them, but their English is just okay to enter the course. But now the English improved a lot. But they both said, but I tried to make an English version video, but because they are Korean, we made a Korean testimonial video from YouTube. Then she said, it's pretty much good especially for the female students have a lot of opportunity, but it doesn't necessarily to have the background. But if background is there, of course, it's better. But again, the extra job and English is very, very important. They keep saying that one. And then they said, oh, pretty much good job opportunity as well. They have interviewed several companies. But I also see that many of them recently said, oh, there are lots of, there is not many jobs for the civil engineering draft person, but I don't know, that we still keep seeing the students who got a job and preparing skill assessment with us. So I think someone always say no, someone say yes. So it depends on the students. But Latin American students really like this one because Latin American students has a lot of engineering background. So they are more like to know all the concept and things. And luckily, we had another lady, I think she's not a Latin American, Bhutan. But not she has a design background, no engineering background, but he liked to have a kind of drawing things, but he said, oh, it's quite okay.
Yeah, for a comment like from online, could you explain the difference between civil engineering and draft person?
The civil engineer is a professional engineer who all the plan, manage the project and do everything. And based on the plan and the work things, the technician is going to site and do the job. And the draft person is in the office and they make up, based on that entire plan, they are drawing the draft about the work and project. And then communicate with the site. And they're always giving the revise and then giving the plan, comment. So those are draft person. So that's why from BetaSys application, when we apply the skill assessment, portfolio is compulsory. So they require the 1 year experience, right? BetaSys, I said the 1 year experience. So during the 1 year, they usually make, I had many cases when they ask a portfolio, then my students are already ready because they do everything in the work. So 1 year experience can apply BetaSys, right? So BetaSys means they need the portfolio, but most of our students already have because they're always doing their one.
Yeah, so there's one question. If I graduate from a private school, can I do a positive skill assessment from Engineers Hostel?
Not anymore.
From CDR pathway?
Oh, yes, CDR is okay. CDR is okay. But CDR is more like the career episode stream, right? So I'm not sure whether he can make a 3 career episode during the study. But if he can make a 3 career episode and then produce the CDR report, then yeah, definitely we can go through the EA. But it's required the experience. So during the study, it might be a little bit tough. I'm not sure.
There's like another question from Taiwan. Is it okay?
Yeah.
It's like the person is, I also doing the mechanical engineering in Taiwan for 10 years. How can I get the skill assessment?
Oh, the engineering in Australia, there are many different streams. So when he is talking about the mechanical engineer, is a professional engineering, professional engineer skill assessment. Then we have to look at their school and qualification is followed by the Washington Accord or not. So under the engineer, there are kind of accord they are following the curriculum. So if that university he graduate is following the Washington Accord, we can easy to process the skill assess. Otherwise, again, 10 years experience have a lot of career episode with the project, then she can produce the career episode, 3 different career episodes and go through the CDR. Yeah, so thank you for coming today. But I know that many things gonna be changed next year, but good news is also there. So let's say the employer sponsor visa, the work experience will come and change it to the 1 year now. Then yeah, government decide to reduce the number, but we are already here. You are ready here. So I really hope you guys make a very good decision and plan. But what I usually say to our students is, you must completely understand before you start. And then you must always carefully update the new information about the migration, because even like me, expert, it's a bit hard to catch up the new things now. So if you're not concerned or not interested about what government change, then you will be very far, you will be very behind. So always make sure to be updated. How you can be updated? Follow our SNS, Facebook and things. We always update new things. Okay, thank you. Thank you.